Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with commandments and commanded us to study words of Torah. Shalom Aleichem, dear listener, Eliezer David Shual, and you're listening to Manna Mysteries, Secrets from Aleph to Tav. So I'd like to suggest that within the very first words of the Torah, we could uncover a profound mystery about Messiah, Yeshua. And I want to explore that with you today. So you'll notice that I'll be using Hebrew names like Yeshua for Jesus, Moshe for Moses. And the reason is there's something powerful about hearing your name in its original form. And as Dale Carnegie points out, hearing your name in your native tongue resonates more deeply with who you are. And it's in that spirit I'll use Hebrew to help us feel a little closer connection to the text. But don't worry, I'll also offer the English equivalents for clarity. So I'm going to explore John 1:1 and Genesis 1:1. And so John 1:1 would partially read, Bereshit haya hadavar. And the translation is, in the beginning was the Word. So I want to pause and unpack this. Doesn't that phrase, in the beginning, sound familiar? Well, it should remind us of something from the Torah. Genesis 1:1 would read, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So why would Yochanan, or John, start his gospel the same way Moshe begins the Torah? Well, I'd like to suggest that John is showing us something crucial. I think he's pointing back to the very foundation of creation. By echoing Genesis, I think John is linking Yeshua directly to the act of creation. Yeshua is not just Mashiach or Messiah. He is Hadavar, the Word. He is the very Word that brought the universe into being. The same Word that created the heavens and the earth, the Hashemayim and the Haaretz, now walks among us as Yeshua, a man. John is showing us that the Messiah is inseparable from the Creator, that Yeshua is both part of creation and the one through whom all things were made. We can see this as Paul writes in Colossians 1 and 16 and 17. He says, For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. So I'd like to move down to verse 4 to John 1. It says, In him was life, and the life was the light of men. So I'd like to pause again and look at this idea of light. It also should feel familiar from the Torah, because where else do we see light at the beginning of creation? Well, Genesis 1 and 3 says in Hebrew, Va'omer Elohim Yehi Or V'cheyi Or. And God said, Let there be light, and it was light. Now, there's something to think about. What kind of light is this? It can't be physical light from the sun and moon. They weren't created until later in the story. So what is this light? Well, I want to suggest something deeper. I think that it is a spiritual light. It's the light of revelation, or the light of God's presence, the divine illumination that brings life and understanding into the world. And Yochanan, John, is telling us that Yeshua is that light. He's not just a messenger. He's the source of divine light, the very light that was present at creation. And so if we jump down to John 1 and 14, it actually reads, And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Well, what does that mean for the Word, Hadavar, to become flesh? What is John really trying to say here? I'd like to suggest that Yeshua is the living Torah. He's not just speaking the words of God. He is the Word of God. The same Hadavar, or the Word, that created the universe and has now taken on human form. The Torah itself, the divine plan, the wisdom of God, is walking among us as Yeshua, the Messiah. And so I want to introduce to you Proverbs 6:23. It says, For the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is light. So this is fascinating because here, again, the Torah itself is called light. So what does this tell us about Yeshua? Well, I'd like to suggest that Yeshua is the living expression of the Torah. He is the embodiment of the light. that the Torah brings into the world. When Yochanan, or John, says Yeshua is the light of men, he's pointing back to the Torah, showing us that Yeshua is the fulfillment of all that the Torah represents, the commandments, the wisdom, and the revelation of God's actual will. So what does this all mean? Well, in my opinion, that the Torah isn't just a collection of law or stories. It's actually God's roadmap for creation, His divine plan. And Yeshua is the fulfillment of this plan. Everything in the Torah, from Aleph to Tav, or beginning to ending, points us to Him. Yeshua is Hadavar, the Word that was there at the very beginning. He is the light that brings life to all creation. He is the living Torah, guiding us in God's truth. The Torah is our guide, and Yeshua is the light that illuminates its path. We continue to explore the mysteries of the Torah. I think we'll see that it all points to the Messiah, the Word made flesh. Thank you for listening. Peace and grace be with you. Shalom.